Last night, I found a diary under my bed. By page 3, it described what was happening to me right now, word for word, breath for breath. I'm not telling you this for attention. I'm telling you because the house at 17 Maple Drive doesn't let tenants leave. It trades them. And right now, it's looking for someone new. 3 stories, 1 address. All the things you tell yourself at 3 a.m. to feel safe. If you ever lived somewhere that felt like it was listening, stay with me. I moved into 17 Maple Drive because I was broke. Rent was half what everywhere else cost. The landlord was an old man with too many keys and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He handed me the key and said, "Some people aren't meant for quiet houses. You look like you need quiet." I thought he was being kind. I know now he was being honest. The place was old, floors that creaked even when nothing moved, windows that fogged from the inside when it wasn't cold, a closet too deep for the size of the room, but it was clean and it was cheap, so I signed for 6 months and told myself I'd leave the second I got a raise. Night 1, nothing happened. I slept. I dreamed about ordinary things. Traffic, work, the smell of my mother's cooking. Night 2, I woke up at 3:07 a.m. I know the time because my phone lit up with a notification from an app one don't use. The air in the room felt thick, like breathing through a wet cloth. At the foot of my bed, something stood, tall, thinner than a man should be. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It waited. I squeezed my eyes shut and counted to 30. When I opened them again, the room was empty. Sleep paralysis. I told myself. Houses settle. Shadows play tricks. I fell back asleep. Night 3. I was on my hands and knees looking for a lost sock when my fingers hit leather under the bed. Cold. Old. A diary, dark brown, cracked spine, initials burned into the corner. TR. The first page was blank, except for a date 20 years old. The second page had handwriting that looked exactly like mine. The way I cross my T's, the way I make my 7s. Night 3. Tall man at the foot of my bed. Breathing that doesn't sound human. I hadn't written that. I hadn't written anything. I shoved the diary under the mattress and told myself it was a prank, a coincidence. The last tenant's handwriting just happening to match mine. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. The whispering started after that. Not from outside, but from inside my own head. It said my name, then a different name, then another. Thomas, Michael, Daniel. None of them were me. But it kept trying anyway, soft and patient, like a parent calling a child in for dinner. I learned fast not to answer. If you answer in this house, something listens. Night 7. The diary had new entry, in red ink darker than the rest. 1 stays, 1 leaves. That's the rule. Beneath it, a list of names, all crossed out except one at the bottom, Thomas R., the same initials on the cover. The landlord told me once that Thomas lived here 20 years before disappearing overnight. No notice, but his mail still came, bills, postcards, all addressed apartment 1A. And every night at exactly 3:07, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, heavy, boots on wood. I lived alone. I tried to leave on day 9. Bags packed, key in hand. The lock wouldn't turn. At 3:08 a.m. exactly, knocking started, not on the front door, but on the inside of my closet. Slow, deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. It stopped. Then a voice, muffled like it was speaking through cloth, said my name. Not my real one. A name I'd never heard before. A name the diary had already written 2 pages ahead. That's when I understood. The diary wasn't recording what happened. It was writing what would happen, and I was already living on the next page while the ink was still wet. I threw it across the room. It landed open, and new words formed on the blank page as I watched, like someone writing from the other side of the paper. He asks for a name. Don't give him yours. The closet handle turned an inch, then stopped, a chair wedged underneath it. Smart. But chairs don't stop things that don't need doors. The tall shape returned that night, closer than before. Its mouth was sewn shut with black thread, thick and deliberate, like someone hadn't wanted it to speak. It didn't need to. It had the diary for that. Before me, apartment 2B belonged to a woman named Claire. I met her once, carrying groceries up the stairs, dark circles under her eyes, hands shaking. She smiled the way people smile when they're trying to convince themselves they're fine. "The walls here are thin," she said. "I hear you breathing at night." I'd only lived there 2 days. I didn't make noise when I slept. I was sure of that. I never saw her again, but I heard her. Every night at 3:08, 1 minute behind mine. Footsteps pacing, whispering, sometimes crying so quietly I thought I'd imagined it. Sometimes 3 knocks on our shared wall, a pause, 3 more, like code, like a warning. By day 5, her plant were dead, all 12, gone from green to brittle overnight, like the life had been pulled out of them on purpose. Her mail piled up in the hallway until the landlord collected it once a week. When I asked about her, he just shrugged. She left without notice. Happens in quiet houses. People get nervous. They go. She hadn't left. Not the way people usually do. One night, her key slid into my lock. Metal on metal, unmistakable. The door opened an inch before catching on the chain I'd put up after finding the diary. The smartest thing I'd done since moving in. Through that gap, I saw her eye. No white in it. Just black, wet, reflective, like something had emptied it out and poured something else in. Her voice came through dry as old paper. "It's your turn to stay now. I've been standing in your closet for 3 nights, breathing when you breathe. Your turn." I slammed the door and wedged a chair under the handle, hands shaking too hard to do it cleanly. By morning, apartment 2B was empty, not just of Claire, but of everything. No furniture, no trace, just dust and a smell like soil after rain. The kind of smell that means something was buried there a long time ago. The listing went up that afternoon. Available immediately. Great rent. Quiet building. That night, the diary had a new name under mine, Claire M., crossed out in the same heavy black line as the rest. Beneath it, in my handwriting, though I never wrote it, "She stayed so I could leave. Now I stay so you can leave." The house doesn't let tenants leave. It trades them. Nobody really moves out. They stop being tenants and become part of the house instead. The footsteps, the whispering, the shape in the corner. I understood then why the rent was so cheap. You weren't paying with money. You were paying with time. Night 10, the diary wrote while I watched, ink bleeding onto the page like it was being pulled from somewhere else. He asks for a name. The knocking came at 3:07, this time on the front door. 3 slow knocks, silence. 3 more. Through the peephole stood the landlord, except his face was Thomas's now. Or maybe it always had been. And the landlord was just whatever face the house needed to hand someone a lease. He couldn't step inside. The threshold burned under his foot when he tried, smoke rising from his shoe as he pulled back, hissing. Rules. There were always rules. "I stayed so you could leave," he said, his voice like Thomas's but older, tired, like someone who repeated the same words for 20 years. "Now you stay so someone else can leave. One stays, one leaves. Always has. Always will." The diary fell open in my hands to a wall of names, dozens, maybe hundreds, all crossed out except mine, fresh in red ink at the bottom. The house was deciding. It was always deciding. I had 3 choices, according to the final page. Give a real name and send someone else here in my place. Give a fake one and watch the house tear itself apart, hunting for someone who didn't exist. Or forget myself and become the voice in the walls for whoever came next. I chose none of them. I went back to the very first page. No dates, no names, handwriting so old it was barely legible. The only way out is to be forgotten. I pressed my palm to it until the letters burned into my skin. I whispered it until it stopped being a word and became just breath, name, face, memories, the address, my mother's voice. All of it gone. The house screamed. Not a human sound, but a structural one, like wood and nails remembering they were once trees and stone. The walls bowed inward. The closet door exploded into splinters, and every shape I'd ever seen in that corner came pouring out. The tall one, the me-shaped one. Every tenant with a sewn mouth and oil-black eyes. They didn't come for me. They walked through me like I was air, because I was already gone. I'd erased my own name from the house's memory. on purpose. Then white light. No corners, no shadows, no 3:07 a.m. Just quiet. The kind with no echo, because there was nothing left to make one. I woke up on grass. An empty lot where the house used to be. Just a concrete foundation. Weeds in the cracks. A mailbox with no numbers tilted like a question mark. Like none of it had ever happened. I don't know my name now. That's the point. The only way out is to be forgotten. By the house. By the names on the wall. By yourself. I'm free. But freedom feels like an empty room. No echoes, no history, just breathing with no reason why. Last night, 3 streets over, someone new moved into a quiet house. Good rent. The landlord smiled. Some people aren't meant for quiet houses. The key was cold, colder than metal should be. Tonight, they'll find a diary under the bed. Leather, dark brown. Initials burned into the corner. TR. On the first page, faint, like it's been written over and over by different hands. The only way out is to be forgotten. The cycle continues. Not because the house is evil. Houses aren't evil. They're hungry. Someone has to stay so someone else can leave. 20 years, it was Thomas. 10 nights, it was me. Now it's them. I don't remember my part in it. Not the names, not the rule, not the shape of the sewn mouth. But sometimes when the wind is right, I hear a whisper, not in my voice. A new one, younger, more afraid. Come see. And I keep walking. Because the forgotten don't get haunted. They just get to live. Even if living means never knowing why you're alive. 3 stories. 1 house. 0 exits. If you've ever lived somewhere that felt like it was watching you, comment, I hear it too. Subscribe for 3 new chilling horror stories every week. All told as if they're true. All fiction. All meant to keep you up at night. And if you ever move into a quiet house with cheap rent, check under the bed first. Before you unpack. Before you sleep. Before 3:07 a.m. Because the house remembers. Even if you don't.